Okay, so today I have a pretty cool thing to show y'all. This is how to do zoo for, or at least the feeling of zoo, it's not necessarily animals, but how to do zoo for about $75 to $100. I want to make a quick note that this is way cheaper online than it is in paper. Online, I could have gotten this whole thing for about $75, and this hole punch for about $10. In paper, it's going to cost a lot more strictly because of the fetch lands, or not the fetch lands, sorry, the shock lands. When that rotates out, you'll find that the shock lands will drop for a little while. It's going to be your time to jump on it and get them shock lands. It's actually going to be relatively cheap in paper once that happens, but this is actually closer to, because of the shock lands, closer to 150, or actually maybe around 125, I should say, for this entire deck in, not including sideboard, in paper. When the shock lands rotate out and they're no longer $10 a pop, they drop down to like $5 a pop, you're going to find it being closer to $75 to get this deck together. And this is, I think this is a great place to start if you want to go ahead and eventually move on up into zoo. Let's go over the reasons why. We've got Experiment 1 over here. Experiment 1 being, of course, a 1-mana evolve creature. We've got Rakdos Cackler, which is a 1-mana 2/2. And we've got Dryad Militant, a 1-mana 2/1. I mean, that's kind of what's important. Also, what's important about them is they're multicolored, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But that's why they're not things like Wild Noctowl or Curdape. Is actually because the multicolor is a bit more important in this version of the deck. Yes, you could use Curdape, and you could use Wild Noctowl in this deck. But what it does turn down is over here, your Hack Blades and your Hush Blades. These guys are here to fully power out Experiment 1, making Experiment 1 very huge, and it's very focused on hasty damage, and a lot of damage early on. So if you drop down turn 1 Rakdos Cackler, and you follow it up with a Jund Hack Blade, you're looking at being able to attack for 2, as well as 3/2 haste. Naya Hushblade over here cannot be, with its multicolor in play, cannot be the target of spells or abilities, so it has Shroud. I think it's 1/1, so it does some beating for 3 damage. You're basically seeing that everything that's 2-drop is a 3 power, is able to swing for 3 power, and a lot of them have haste too, like this could have haste. Worth noting, Burning Tree Emissary does not have 3 power. It's the only thing in this deck that's 2 mana cost and does not have 3 power. But since it's basically free, you can look it over since you're going to cast something off of it like a Jund Hackblade anyways. Your best draw here is an Experiment 1, a 1/1, into a Burning Tree Emissary, a 2/2, which evolves E1 into a 2/2, and then into a Jund Hackblade, which sees Burning Tree Emissary as a multicolor comes into play as a 3/2, evolves Experiment 1 into a 3/3, and you're attacking with haste for 6 damage on turn 2. That's actually really good. It drops the opponent if they've taken any shock land damage. Let's say they've just taken shock. They go down to 18, then they drop to 12. That is a very cool range. Now, you could back it up with Burn, but what I decided to do is back it up with some other stuff in this deck, including Lightning Bolt, which of course is the best removal spell in Modern. Path to Exile, which is cheaper online than it is in paper, but it is still very, very good. It gets things out of the way so that you can get the full damage in. You notice that I chose this specifically because Hackblade, Burning Tree Emissary, Dryad Militant, Cackler, they really don't have the big butts that the Naya Zoo does. So you really gotta make up for it by not having any creatures at all in existence. And also, if they're gonna die, you want them to still be able to hit, which is where the Rancor comes in. So since you're doing a lot of hasty stuff, even going and doing something along the lines of like Experiment 1 into a Burning Tree Emissary, into a Rakdos Cackler, into Rancor on the Experiment 1, you're still attacking for 4 damage on turn 2, which is a lot. Your turn 2, 3, your turn 1, 2, 3 is super important in this deck. Afterwards, you start losing the game. And still, you're trying to rush in as much damage in as you can. Rancor having the upside of, if it dies and gets blocked. It still does damage and then jumps back into your hand, and it's so cheap that you can recast it. To finish up the pack, we're doing Woolly Thoktar. Woolly Thoktar is incredibly cheap, which is one of the reasons why I chose it for this deck, to keep it under. If you had a bit more money, I think Smiter is about $2 to $3 in paper and is $1 online. I want to say that's what it is. But Woolly Thoktar is probably around maybe 10 cents in paper and 2 cents online. So that's why I chose it. Plus, it still unconditionally evolves E1 into as big as 5/5. And there's some decks where you actually drop Woolly Thoktar on turn 3 and they look at the 4 toughness and they look at the 5 power and they're just like, well, I think we lose. So that's one of the reasons why. And yes, I'm going Naya. You could go just straight Gruul and have a bit more, like less money that you have to cast on, or have to spend on, like these fetch lands, or not the fetch lands, the shock lands. And you can cut this stuff and put stuff like Curdape in it, and cut this stuff and put, like, I don't know, maybe Scavenging Ooze in with the extra money that you're saving. But I feel like this feels like more Naya Zoo than Gruul Zoo does. Gruul Zoo feels very rushy, and this has sort of a weird blend between the staying power of Naya Zoo and the rush power of Gruul Zoo. And I think it's fun to sort of like still have 3 colors. I mean, you're looking for a fun deck, and one that eventually you'll evolve into a full deck. And that's one of the biggest advantages of actually starting out with this zoo. While it is a little bit kiddie, I will admit it's a little bit kiddie. In the beginning, it starts becoming more and more powerful as you take certain things out. So, for example, I would take out, if you end up getting Scavenging Oozes or other 2-drops like for example, or better 1-drops like Goblin Guide, which is still kind of expensive. Goblin Guide, I believe, is about $4 online and about 6 to 7 in paper. Then you can start taking out the Rakdos, Cacklers, the Dryad Militants, and you can put in things like Goblin Guides, Curdapes, Loom Lions maybe, and Noctills. Noctills are the biggest ones. Curdapes come in second. I would say Loom Lion and Goblin Guide are tied, depending on what you want to do. But once you start taking out these multicolor stuff, you gotta take out the Hack Blades. You can keep the Burning Tree Emissaries in; they're still pretty good. When you take out the Hack Blades, you can start replacing it with some better burn, like Lightning Helix maybe, Searing Blood maybe, whatever. And you want to upgrade these Hack Blades into things like Oozes, and yeah, let me grow this. So you can upgrade this your 2 convert mana drops into things like Strangleroot Geists or Oozes. Another thing you could do is stuff like Qasali Pride Mage, which is awesome in the current meta. Boros Charm is really good once you start cutting the Burning Tree Emissary, so you can reliably have white mana and you don't have to force it into strictly more Gruulish colors. It's always a good card to have in this in Burn, as well as Lightning Helix. If you want to go less spells, you could always put in Thalia. So those are some of the better upgraded spells. You also, Vines of Vastwood's very, very good. Goblin Guide, Grim Lavamancer, all really good. Other things you can do is Pillar of Flame in the main. But yeah, this is what I think you can slowly upgrade. When you upgrade the lands, of course, if you're starting with something like City of Brass, which you can cut some of these shock lands into City of Brasses. I wouldn't cut them into filter lands because filter lands cost pretty much the same. The only reason I would cut them into filter lands is if you're using things like Vines of Vastwood, Searing Blood, and you're still trying to keep the white, as well as things like Strangleroot Geists. But I think this deck has a very cool ability to upgrade. Looking at the sideboard, you can see that it's going to be about $25. Rest in Peace is actually pretty cheap. I believe it's rotating. No, it's not. Yes, it is rotating out, right? Because it was originally supposed to come out in the Greek-themed stuffs, but then it got bumped into Ravnica. Right. All right. So yeah, Rest in Peace is cheap. It's about $1, $2. But since you're playing with 0 cards that interact with the graveyard, Rest in Peace is the best thing you can have. Thalia's come in because they're sort of a cure-all answer against what do you call it, against combo decks. Although you could have the Echelon of Great Revels if you have that in Standard because you play Standard. I would replace it with that. Ancient Grudges are really good against Affinity. Just one of Destructive Revelry in the side to sort of cover your bases a little bit. If you had the little bit of extra cash or had them on you, take that Destructive Revelry, or at least one of the Ancient Grudges maybe, and turn it into Stony Silence. In the modern meta, Stony Silence is very, very good. Mutagenetic Growths in the side, they're very cheap. You could have them as Boros Charms if you like, or Vines of Vastwood. Basically, it's the I'm not going to get hit by removal spells in this consideration burn. And it's also free, which is why I'm using it for this part. It's casting cost free. Combust is for twin matchups and other sort of mid-range matchups that use white creatures, or blue matchups like Delver, where Combust is really, really good. Pillar of Flames is strictly for Kitchen Finks, which is the bane of this deck. If you're using things like if you manage to find some spots in your deck for Gruul Clan Rampager, then you're going to want to use that instead. Yeah, Rest in Peace covers the bases, so let's go ahead and see what this deck can do in a just for fun matchup on the play. Alright, let's see what we got here. We won the die roll. That's actually really important in this sort of rusher zoo. We want to have win the die roll. And we got a keepable hand. Everything here can be casted because of our luckily flexible mana costs. Everything can be casted here, and we've got a Burning Tree Emissary and a very, very cool hand. Definitely we can show off what this deck is made of. Alright, so we're going to start out with the Copperline Gorge because it's free. Or it does not count for very much. Comes into play untapped and we don't have to pay for it. That way if we draw like a boar and then we draw like a better mana spell, we can do that. Seaside Citadel comes in, yeah, exactly like I thought we might get that. So we're gonna do Stomping Grounds. We're gonna pay for that crap. Yes, sir. We're gonna have ourselves a 4/4 experiment one. Feeling good, feeling great. Feeling all-star. Get that evolve trigger. Get that evolve trigger. Matter. It doesn't really matter to me. This is actually the first time I'm playing with Burning Tree Emissary on MTGO, so bear with me as I'm realizing how that's working. Get that evolve trigger. Get that haste. Dude, we could Rancor it up if we really want to. We can Rancor up the Woolly Thoktar if we really want to. It's feeling good, feeling great. Feeling hasty. Boom! 6 damage. Take it. Take it. BF14. Take it. Pyroclasm. We feel sad. Yeah, like I said, this deck is way fun. If you're looking for something that's like semi-competitive against your friends, then you're looking for this deck. Boar! We can do even more haste damage. Alright, guys, what do we want to do? Do we want to do the hasty 3 damage, or do we want to do the, I think we actually maybe want to cast it and not haste it, and then put Rancor on Experiment 1. Because Rancor on Experiment 1 still evolves him with Woolly Thoktar. I think that's actually the way to go, because it seems like more damage for next turn. Sometimes you want to think ahead. That's actually a legit thing. Sometimes you want to think ahead of 1 turn damage, and you want to look to what you can do the best. Likewise, I could also put the Rancor on the Burning Tree Emissary, but I think I'm actually going to do it on the Experiment 1, just because I don't think he's got a way to interact with us, really. And we're still doing a lot of damage in here. We're still doing a ton and a half of damage. This is turn 3, and we got our opponent down to dead. 5, 3, and 2. So what is that? 5. That's 5, 5, 10. So we got him down to 4, and he's looking down next turn. 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 plus 3, so that's 15 damage. So yeah, that's exactly, again, if we're on the play and they don't have any way to interrupt our dudes from attacking, they are super dead super fast. This is actually faster than Naya's because of the haste. So yeah, it's way cool. Let's do another game. Host another match. Correction chimp. Correction chimp. We won the die roll. Woo! We're on a roll, dude. And we got the manas to cast things. But Naya Hushblade only comes in as a 2-1, which kind of blows. But the next turn we can cast Willy Thoktar, and it gets bigger, and that doesn't evolve E1, but E1's going to be at least a 3-3 on that turn. We're going to keep it. Again, we're on the play, so I don't necessarily mind. He mulligans, which is great for us. There's always the off chance that we draw Burning Tree Emissary, which would be the best draw here. Hay the Life, yes. Yeah, I think Burning Tree Emissary is the best draw here. Although, you could argue Rakdos Cackler is a pretty good draw or something. Thoughtseize, yeah, he's going to take out our Naya Hushblade if he does not. Although, I don't know, Willy Thoktar is a pretty good thing to take out too. Jund Hackblade's fine too, because then we can... he's taking 2 damage off of it anyways. Yeah, so again, yeah, Naya Hushblade's a good thing to hit. So we hope we draw a 2-drop here, something that evolves E1 in general, now that we got that. That does not evolve E1. That is fine, I suppose. No. Because it does let us hit for 3. Dropping him down to 3/4 of his life total on turn 2. Not nearly as explosive as before, but it's doable. Alright, white. So we're against like a tokens deck, which in case the experiment one is awesome. He's got nothing. We drew a boatload of nothing, but we don't want to show him that we drew the Temple Garden, so we're going to go ahead and just do it like that. This is still going to evolve E1 once. We're going to be hitting for 2, or 1 more, which could be 4 unless he's got something that he's going to do to it. I think in Doomblade. I'm sure that's what it is if we're playing like easier decks. I can't regen it now. But if we hit for 4, that's good for us too. Drops him down to 11. And we have a giant dude on the field. Raise the alarm. Is he gonna double block? He double blocks, I guess that's fine. So he's a tokens deck. Oh, no, he doesn't double block. That seems fine to me then. I can block one of these successfully even with something else happening. Bitter Blossom! Dude, that costs a lot of money. What are you doing in the just for fun area? Bitter Blossom's actually pretty good for us, to be honest with you. Drawing all these lands, not exactly what I want to do. But this is fine in the fact that if he tries to double block my experiment one, I have Path to Exile to back it up. So yeah, I mean, I always hate pathing a soldier. I might not even do it just because then I can put the Rancor on my Willy Thoktar, and he's having to buy himself some time. Yeah, and I don't want to mana screw. I want to keep him mana screwed. We're still hitting in for damage, so it's not like we're wasting our turns. And he knows we have the path. He knows we have it. But the hope is that he's still mana screwed. And Intangible Virtue is fine. Getting like another Rancor or a Lightning Bolt is good too. Interesting thing I could do here. I mean, he could block this. I don't think I want that. I think I just want him to die. That's actually better. But I could, just so you guys know, I could, if he decided to block my Experiment 1 to try to kill it, I could then bolt it in response, and since it has trample, all 4 damage would go through. Likewise, if he blocks that and 4 damage goes through, I can bolt his face and he dies. Or I can just bolt his creature right now and he can't get rid of any of my creatures, and I can just attack through. I think that's exactly what I want to do. Just because that's funnier. And that's how 2 creatures killed people. Boom! Boom! No Bitter Blossom! Got 1 trigger off of it. Let's do one more game, because these are all really, really fast games. And I'm not showing Sideboard, because, again, Sideboard is something that you just sort of have to figure out. Sideboard is mostly a collection of cards that you put together, and then when opportunity arises for you to use them in different metas, it becomes valuable. There's no real set sideboard for this deck specifically. I lost the die roll. Oh no, I'm gonna lose this game. It's gonna be 2 out of 3 that I won, but that's fine. Yeah, there's no mana in this hand, which is not cool. If I could have traded this like Rancor and the Hushblade for like mana, or like the Rakdos Cackler, I would do it. This is mana though, so we'll keep it. And it's got a Hasty with the Dryad Militant. Things are looking up, Lantern. Things are coming up, Lantern. Woo! Stomping Ground. Doesn't really matter though. Things are coming up, Lantern. I don't know, I'm just quoted that. Things are coming up, Millhouse. And he's got like the shorts. My rainproof shorts. Things are coming up, Millhouse. Bloodghast. Sure, I can't block, so that's fine with me. Not like we are going to be doing a lot more damage than he is. Well, it is. We're going to be doing a ton more damage than he is. But we got, hey, with the lands that we got Hasty, so we're going to be hitting for a lot of mana. A lot of damage, Hasty, yum yum, good goods. Guess we'll do Stomping Ground? Or no, we'll do Save Conjure, just we'll keep our butt open. We can still cast our Jund Hackblade and be swinging for 5. Be swinging for 5. Pay this mana. Okay. I was distracted trying to, you know, be a pirate. Be a pirate. No blocks for you. No blocks for you. Bloodghast would be stupidly good if it could block. Block it, bring it back, block it, bring it back. Oh, gross. It comes into play tapped though, so that's fine. I lose 2 life, sure. I lose 2 more life. Trying to do that race on me, aren't you, dude? I see your race. And I raise you 8 damage next turn. How about that? I'll raise you that. Ooh, I'll raise you even more damage next turn if you don't hold the thing back to block. Red. Red. By the way, never do it the way I'm doing it. Always cast your thing first before giving it haste. I'm just very self-assured that I'm not going to have to worry about it. Haste the limit turn. Boom, boom, boom! Yay! Oh, the damage! Truthfully, even if he holds back the, although if he puts out Obliviator, I'm going to be really, really sad. He's got to hold back, I think, at this point. He can attack with the Bloodghast. Okay, fine. Do it! Even if he puts out Obliviator, I think I win. He does not. But this is actually more mana efficient to put out the Hackblade and then the Rakdos Cackler. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Yes, we want to unleash. That's the first time I've ever unleashed. God, I'm unleashy today. That is a lot of haste damage, man. This is actually a way, way funner deck than I thought it was going to be. Let's move it on into the attack sphere. And swing for the death. Boom! What does he got? What do you got? Doom Blades? Doom Blades and such? Go for the throat. Targeting what? Okay, yeah, sure. I don't know why he wouldn't target that. It seems better. Is it gonna be slip? Oh, I hope it's a slip. That would be way cool. Oh, it's a slip. That guy slipped. What's funny is we still hit for 5. And then I think we still win on the next turn. Don't pay it the life, no. This is just so that way if I draw like a 1-1, I can play it. I'm not going to try to pretend that I have something. But watching how he attacks here is important. Because, first off, I think he doesn't have any removal spell. If he decides to only attack with the Bloodghast, I won't block it. Okay, I win. Yeah, Burning Tree Emissary into Flint Hoof Boar, that would have been pretty cool next turn. And specifically saying that if he didn't have anything to do removal, we would have been attacked for, I can't move this. Oh god, I hate beta. We would attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 damage with he's got 2. He's only going to be able to block Dose, so he'd potentially block the biggest, and we'd still hit him for 4. Even with 1 more removal spell, he's got 2 cards in hand. It would be fine. If he had like a Bloodghast in hand or something, then that would have been fine too, because he can't block. That's a powerful creatures coming to play tapped, not being able to block. Does add up against Zoo because you can rush them and kill them. That's what I do in full Zoo, anyways. So that was the fun, yum, hasty. Attack Zoo, multicolored Zoo. It feels really fun to play, I gotta admit. Even as like a Zoo player, like a hard Zoo player with my main Zoo decks, this deck is like just a blast to turn dudes sideways. Yeah, you've got a little bit less reactivity in the fact that your creatures aren't as strong, can't do as much cool stuff, like for example Scavenging Ooze to eat stuff. You can't get as much burn in here as I'd like, but hey, you still have about 8 different removal spells, so that's still pretty good. And just the sheer amount of hastiness and 3 power, 2 mana creatures is kind of redonkulous. And yeah, this deck is really easy to upgrade. So if you guys enjoyed it, remember to like my videos, subscribe if you want more Zoo stuff, and yeah, come on to MTG Salvation and talk about it if you want. This deck specifically you can talk about in the budget subforum of Modern, so you'll find it there pinned on the sub. Alright, thanks guys, and enjoy playing Zoo, and as always, make sure to feed the animals. Thank you.